movie review mom. Today I am reviewing the movie Once Upon a Deadpool. The score I gave it is actually a B, maybe B plus, and I'll tell you why. But first, let me give you the scoop. This is a PG-13 version of the Deadpool 2 sequel movie that came out this last spring. That one was rated R. The first Deadpool was rated R, and boy, are they rated R. So this is an attempt to kind of clean it up, to probably introduce younger kids to this superhero. If you know anything about Deadpool, he is a very naughty superhero. He pokes fun at everything and is just completely full with profanities and F-bombs and bad behavior, and he's a horrible example, but he is hilarious. So your kids are probably going to be attracted to him if they know anything about him. And just if they have a defiant streak in them, he's going to be the superhero that they latch onto. So this kind of enables you to see a softer, gentler version of the Deadpool movies. Now, they didn't do this for the first one, so you kind of have to know the character already, which means you would have had to watch an R-rated movie or have seen the movie filtered through some kind of a filtering device, because it's really dirty. It's really rated R in every sense. So this PG-13 version came out just in time for Christmas. Not that it has anything to do with Christmas. It just kind of feels like a little bit of a money grab. Okay, so here's the deal. Marvel was bought by Fox, and Fox is now being bought by Disney. And Disney, of course, has a squeaky clean, at least they try, family image, right? So they had to do something with this Deadpool movie, at least to get more money, I'm sure. But Marvel sure is on a roll. They know how to pump these movies out. So the twist on this PG-13 version is Fred Savage. And in fact, Deadpool makes the joke that the only F-bomb that they're going to drop in this movie is Fred Savage. So if you've seen the movie The Princess Bride, then you're going to really appreciate this movie. I loved The Princess Bride. I've seen it 1,000 times. And it's very clean and very family friendly. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to see that. And you really should see it before you see this movie, so that you appreciate the role that Fred Savage plays in this movie. Basically, Deadpool is reading a bedtime story, his movie, to Fred Savage, like the story that was being read to Fred Savage when he was a young boy in bed with a cold, and his grandpa came and talked to him and read the story about the Princess Bride. Anyway, it's a whole thing. They really stretch the gag throughout the movie, which is hilarious, I admit. They poke fun at the F-bomb, actually. There are no F-bombs. The language is clean. There is some profanity, but there are no F-bombs, and they really make a point of that. And they have a lot of jokes about that. As far as other parental tips, there is a lot of violence because this is a superhero movie, first of all, and it's Deadpool. People are in peril. There's lots of explosions and crashes and deaths and body count and all of that kind of stuff. But there's no blood, so in that regard, it's cleaned up. There's some cleavage, some people flip the bird. There's talk, unfortunately, of perverts, porn, being a virgin. You see an IUD, they talk about it. So there's some things that could have easily been cleaned up, but they did choose to leave some of those things in. Deadpool is immune to dying, and so he tries, spoiler alert, his wife dies in Deadpool 2, and so he tries to commit suicide a bunch of times, and he just doesn't die. So you see him trying to kill himself in many ways. And as a parent, you want to talk to your kids probably about that. Let them know you love them and you want them to stick around. There's lots of pop culture references, tons of them, that young kids won't get. There are some lesbians. You see a pantless Deadpool. His legs get torn off This sounds so bizarre. His legs get sliced off. And so because he can't die, his legs sort of regrow. And so he's sitting there like Winnie the Pooh with a shirt but no pants, but his naughty bits are all blurred out. And that scene kind of goes on and on for a little bit. It's funny, but it's also kind of gross, somewhat alarming. There are some uplifting themes to the movie, and that is that your heart needs to be in the right place. That is mentioned several times in the movie, and I think that that's a really good message. Deadpool's wife, who's played by the beautiful Morena Baccarin, and I'm probably pronouncing her name incorrectly. I just think she's really pretty. Anyway, she says to Deadpool, kids, they give us a chance to be better than we are, better than we used to be. And that's a theme, and that's part of the motivation, both the death of his wife and this idea of how kids can make us be better, to give us a second chance. That's another huge motivation for Deadpool in this movie, which is really great. And again, gives you an opportunity to talk to your kids about how awesome they are and how grateful you are to have them in your life. Blind Owl says, no child is hopeless. And I love that. There's a big theme about sacrificing for others, and that's done in several different ways in the movie. And I always love that, people that learn that lesson, that there are things worth dying for, there are things worth making sacrifices for, the greater good, that whole idea. And Deadpool says 4 or 5 moments. That's all it takes to be a hero. And the idea that you don't have to be a superhero to be a hero is repeated over and over again. And I love that as well, that there's something special about all of us. And that all of us are a type of hero. And in fact, that's also a theme in the new Spider-Man movie, that one of the characters says that there are lots of different kinds of heroes and that we all have the hero within us. I really like that too. There's also the theme of a sense of belonging and wanting to have a home, and that we all need a genuine sense of home, which is actually something that Deadpool says. And then friendship is a very strong theme. Colossus and Deadpool are buddies, which is really a cute pairing. And Colossus says, true friends, that's what friends do. They show up. And so there are a lot of different types of friendships and a lot of different ways that friends show up in this movie. And I really like that too. Josh Brolin is just nailing it with the evil villain in this movie, as well as obviously the Avengers movie, and others that he's been in as well. There are a lot of big CGI fight scenes, and the CGI is actually really good. There are a lot of really fun and clever and witty and fast-moving action scenes, which is a lot of fun. X-Men gets a big shout out for this movie, also with Colossus and some other X-Men trainees. There are tons of Easter eggs, and some you'll catch, some you might have to watch the R-rated movie because they did take out some of the R-rated references. Things that I didn't really like is I'm not a comic book reader, and so I don't really know a whole lot of details about these characters until they come to the big screen, and so I'm sure I'm missing some storylines. I was told that in the original comic book that the character Domino has some different coloring. She's white with some black markings. This movie, she's black with some white markings. That's not something I didn't like, just that's a difference, one of the differences that they made from the comic book to the movie. And I've heard that there are a few others. So if you're a diehard comic book fan, some of those things might bother you, but probably not. And that the fact that there is still some inappropriate material, even though it's a PG-13, would have been cool if they knocked it down to a PG. On the other hand, we're exposing kids to this really wild character, and they're going to think he's cool, and they're going to want to be like him, probably. He's very snarky and disrespectful, and that I don't like in terms of being an example for my kids, but I admit he's actually really hilarious. Well, go on to my website, moviereviewmom.com, and you can read more information, more of the funny lines that I wrote down, some of the inspiring lines, and some other tips about going to see that movie. Be sure and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. It's a new channel, and I'm getting a kick out of sharing these movie reviews with you, and I hope you're enjoying them. Drop me a line. Let me know if there's a movie you would like me to review, or if you go onto my website and you click on the Contact Me box, I will send you a free ebook on how to watch movies for free for you and your family. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, and see you at the movies.